What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome into NYJ today. So, I see a couple people in the chat. Welcome to the show. If you have been living under a rock for the past hour or so, the news out of Jets camp and from the scrimmage versus the Packers, the reporting is that Carl Lawson went down with a injury to his left leg, and they carted him off the field. And then there were reportings after that Carl Lawson felt a pop, and that Carl Lawson is now going to be getting an MRI of his Achilles. And so for anybody that doesn't know out there, that spells out bad stuff. And so the chances are very high that he has suffered some sort of very serious injury. You have to suspect that it's a Achilles rupture, and so his season may be over. We don't know that for officially yet, so don't quote me on that, but the news is not good. I'm going to go ahead and get to the chat. Eagle Fang says injuries like this are killers because the Jets are trying so hard to make up for their bad drafting over the last decade, and you could even throw in bad free agency signings. So yeah. Anthony Galeros, this is so upsetting. Agreed completely. This is a horrible feeling. I honestly have been saying that Carl Lawson probably was the best player on the Jets team. And if you really think hard enough about it, maybe CJ Mosley, because he, before, missing 2 seasons, he may have been the best player on the team. Marcus May. I don't think that Marcus May is the same impact player that Carl Lawson is. So we potentially lost the best player on the team in this, on this practice. David Santiago, welcome, sir. I don't recognize you. Welcome to the channel. He says the Jet curse continues. Yes, it feels a lot like that. You are 100% correct. James DiPietro, it's good to see you in the chat. He said Lawson is the MVP of preseason. Prayers are with him. Yes, thoughts and prayers. I did make a video about this news, and I said the same thing, man. Like, we just have to, as fans, it sucks, and we're allowed to be, hurting over this, but we also need to consider that this is a human being on the other end of it. So Carl Lawson is in a bad spot. And so prayers and thoughts go out to him, no doubt. Russell Condi, it's good to see you in the chat. He says, are the Jets facing more injuries than other NFL teams? Is strength training in place? So actually, to this point, we haven't really had any serious injuries. Mekhi Becton was dealing with plantar fasciitis, which I believe he's overcome. Quinnen Williams has overcome his foot injury as well, so that is okay. This is truly the first significant injury, potentially, of the season. So the Jets did replace their entire training staff and the medical team. They rebooted the whole thing because of all the injuries that the Jets have been incurring over the last, 5-10 years. So they definitely, blew it up. And it's really going to be very interesting to see over the next few weeks and months how this team does in preventing these types of injuries. Thank you for the comment, Russell Condi. Well, I won't say that. All that positivity vanishing in one day, Jets have to get these draft picks right, which it all comes down to. Now, I will agree with that second part, Eagle Fang. They definitely, any good franchise, any team that wants to have long-term success has to hit on draft picks. So I'm completely with you on that part. This injury totally sucks, and we're going to be feeling the effects of it for probably several days. But the season, all of the optimism is not gone. It just totally sucks, though, and we're allowed to hurt over this, and it's totally fine. Salvatore Badalamenti, thank you very much for the comment and a great point. Next man up. What else are we going to do? And you're right. You're 100% correct. we can sit here and we can cry over spilt milk for a little bit, but after that, we kind of need to get over it. And you know damn well the Jets, the team and the players and the coaches, they all have to move forward if this is a serious injury. Bryce Huff, we need you, young man. You need to step up. Jonathan Franklin Myers, young man, we need you to step up. Jabari Zuniga, we need you to step up. Quinnen Williams, I'm not upset with Quinnen Williams. We need him to continue to elevate his play. We need him to become a superstar in this defense. And you're absolutely right, Salvatore. We need guys to fill in. It's absolutely a big, big deal. Before I continue reading these chats and talking to you about this news, guys, I would urge you, if you're new to the channel, please check out the channel, check out the videos, check out all the content, and if you enjoy it, please consider subscribing to the channel. We are doing a giveaway on September 1st. Going to give away a signed Wayne Corbett mini helmet. One of our subscribers will earn that prize. Matt Malello, if I said your name wrong, I do apologize. Why did I grow up in New York? I ask myself, so I'm a Maryland guy. I live in Maryland, but I was born in New York. My father was born and raised in Long Island, New York. I often wonder why? Great question. And yes, it sucks. And again, a couple people have been hitting up the like button. We've got about 30 people in here, guys. If you don't mind, please go ahead and jet up the like button for me. Yeah, just do me that favor. I would greatly appreciate it. Sometimes my mind, I'm still thinking about Carl Lawson and I get a little bit sidetracked. Vern, what horrible news to wake up to. Yeah, dude, it totally ruins the whole vibe of the upcoming weekend. It ruins the vibe coming up to the preseason game. The season's not over. Anybody that tells you that is a fool. The season is not over. Just need to see how this team responds. Any good NFL coach will tell you that adversity is going to come. Well, by golly, it has struck the New York Jets. Adversity has hit us. We are not even into game 2 of preseason football, and we have now been faced with the very first hurdle of the season. And so it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the team and the young players respond. Yeah, Ronald Blair from San Francisco. I don't know if he's going to fill the pass rushing void, but Huff absolutely needs to bring the juice. Jonathan Franklin Myers. There's a number of players that we need to count on. Even the undrafted free agent from Oregon State. His name is slipping my mind right now. Hamilcar Rashed Jr. We need him. Undrafted guy. You need to step up, young man. We need you. Bruh XRP, just getting here. Is our season over? So I just talked a little bit about that. No, I don't think the season's over. If you think about it in terms of the Vinny Testaverde injury that the Jets suffered week 1 in 1999, yeah, the season was over. We lost our Super Bowl chance, but this is not a Super Bowl team. And Carl Lawson's not a quarterback as well. So is the season over? No, because young players that weren't going to get opportunities could potentially end up getting them if this is significant, which it looks like. And that's not always a bad thing. We can see other players, and yeah, man, it just sucks. This sucks. The season's not over, but this is just a big, big blow. Hi, Mrs. T. Thanks for the prayers. Much appreciated. Colin R. Is there any update? The only update, I gave it at the top of the stream. They are doing an MRI. They're going to conduct an MRI on his left leg, but the focus of the MRI is on his Achilles. And if you're not sure about what body part that is of the leg, it's basically where the ankle, the ankle, and it connects up to the knee, I believe. And so that tendon can rupture. And so that is the suspicion, because Carl Lawson was also reported having said that he heard or felt a pop. So not good. Not good at all. Anyways, let's get to some more chat. It's great to see you guys. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching this, please go ahead and hit the like button. There's over 30 of you right now in here. And again, if you're new, please consider subscribing. Steve Rose, he says, not even a Jets fan. Hate to see this. This team is heading in the right direction, but the amount of injuries every year with this franchise is astounding. Steve, thank you for your comment and also for the unbiased opinion. Jets fans, we frequently will say that we suffer injuries, but we're now hearing from somebody that is not, a part of the Jets, fan base, and he's noting it. We suffer injuries. I think that the Jets do, and I think you could also even lump in the Packers at some points, in the past years. They've suffered a lot of injuries. Also, the 49ers last year, they were just ravished with injuries. It ruined their whole season. Thank you again, Steve, for the comment. Bruh XRP. Jets always get struck with adversity. I'm convinced the football gods hate the Jets. Yeah, the old saying is that Joe Namath sold his soul to the devil so that we could win Super Bowl III. It feels like that sometimes. D-Rock NY Sports. Tough to be a Jets fan. Hopefully they will show some progress this season. Bunch of picks coming. Hopefully next year they take a leap. Yeah. No, not all is not lost. It's really more about the loss of the player, which is Carl Lawson. And, I mean, if you've been following my channel for a while now, or if you're just starting to follow the channel, I've been raving and harping so hard on the edge rush presence that Carl Lawson would have brought. And again, his season's not over yet. We don't know that for sure. And then the interior pass rush that Quinnen Williams would have provided, Sheldon Rankins would have provided. And that combination is very, very challenging for offensive lines and offenses to deal with. It changes the way they scheme up or draw up plays when they are preparing to face the Jets or teams that have good pass rushes. So to lose the edge threat or the elite edge threat in Carl Lawson, it definitely puts a big damper on my excitement for the pass rush. Michael Salfino is attacking Jets fans on Twitter. What's new? Steve Rose says the season at this point is to develop and see what you got in Wilson. Absolutely. I've been saying that. This is an evaluative year. The New York Jets, I've been predicting and been saying 6 to 8 wins. I've been saying that for months now on the channel. And that number might be going, closer to 6 now because of, losing the edge rush, but we just don't know. We have to wait and see what these other kids can do. But I agree with you. Still a ton to look forward to. Tons of offensive players to develop and to watch. I'm with you, Steve Rose, and I appreciate you throwing in the optimism as well. It is much needed. Vern saying, even if it's an ACL strain, he's out likely 5 to 6 months. We are toast. It's not going to be an ACL because they are specifically doing the MRI scan of his Achilles. I'd be shocked if it were knee related. I mean, I guess it could technically be, maybe. I don't know. But those doctors generally know what's up. Sometimes they can diagnose on the field and they just need the MRI to confirm it. Yeah. Edward McDougall, it's good to see you in the chat. Thank you for joining. There's a lot of new names from this, in this stream because it is a daytime stream. If you're new to the channel, please check out the channel. And again, I hope you guys consider subscribing. We do weekly streams Wednesday night and Sunday night. So check out the channel. Edward said, first, I hope is for his health. Yes. Real world, this is a rebuilding year. And it is a chance for others to step up and gain experience. 100%. And this will allow for Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, all of the coaches to get a good look at some of these players. I had said that Jabari Zuniga might have been actually on the roster bubble, like meaning he could be put on the practice squad or cut because of all of this depth that we had on the defensive line. But now with potentially losing Carl, I don't know if he's going anywhere. And so this allows the Jets to do more evaluation on players like him and see how they respond. Because again, like you said, Edward, this is a young football team. It's a rebuilding season, an evaluative season. So there's no question they're going to use this as, a hurdle. They need to overcome the hurdle. They need to overcome the adversity. Vern, don't even care anymore. Probably not watching Saturday. See you guys next season. I don't know if you need to be that distraught. It is definitely devastating. And somebody who's been literally hyped about Carl Lawson since we signed. There's a video on the channel of literally moments after we signed him. And I was fired up, man. I was freaking out. I was really, really pumped up about Carl Lawson. And I just feel like, it sucks. But it's not, the season's not over yet. We still have so much to look forward to. Kind of like what Steve Rose was saying. We need to look forward, not backward. Christy Marie, new subscriber here. Thank you, Christy. I appreciate you subscribing. She says, this is really tough news. I'm concerned about Becton as well. We can talk about Becton. And I'll read the rest of your comment before I address it. I thought him practicing against Lawson was really going to further his development. Prayers up for Lawson. This is a great comment, Christy. Thank you again. We don't have enough women on the channel, enough Jets fans that are women. So I appreciate you being here. And thanks for the comment. The Becton stuff was not a concern for me for a long, long time. But now it's been almost confirmed. Mike LaFleur, offensive coordinator for the New York Jets, was interviewed post-practice. And he said, paraphrasing here, he said Mekhi Becton's working through some things and that he is struggling. So we can no longer say, oh, it's just practice. Oh, it's just, he's like learning or whatever. He's developing. This is definitely now a legitimate concern because now we don't just speculate anymore. We're hearing it from the coaching staff themselves that Mekhi Becton is struggling and that he's going through some things. I don't know if that means off the field stuff. Maybe he's got some things, that's distracting him, like making him lose his focus. I don't know if I necessarily buy that unless it's something really serious, a family member sick or hurt. It's not a good thing. And it's not just one of those situations where if Becton is bad, that's it. If Becton is not performing well, and if he is truly struggling like our offensive coordinator said, that's going to have a trickle-down effect. That's going to impact players like Zach Wilson. It's going to impact the running backs, which we need desperately to be impactful to help the rookie out. So there is a massive trickle-down effect that would come if that's the case. All right. This is true. Saleh has dealt with injuries on the defense with the 49ers last year. I'm not worried about Saleh's defense. That's a good and timely comment to throw in there. The defense for San Francisco suffered numerous injuries on the defensive line. They lost Bosa for the season. They lost the interior guy. I don't think it was Armstead. The guy they drafted early in the draft. I can't recall his name, but they lost him for the season, and it was against the Jets in week 2 of last year. So numerous injuries on the defensive side for the 49ers, and he did not let that team give up, and they fought, and they still played pretty good football down the stretch. Grant Rude, that's a good point to throw in there. Becton working through some things could mean that he's working through the pain in his foot. And I don't know if I feel comforted by that or more concerned by that. Because if he's got plantar fasciitis lingering, that's the worst part of plantar fasciitis, is that it can linger for a really long time. It's not necessarily like a devastating, life-changing injury, but it can be a nagging injury. And if it continues, I'm nervous and I'm worried about him being able to hold up on the left side. F. Monks, wonder if Green Bay's practice field sucks. Heard Mims was limping as well. Just hope Zach balls out this Saturday. That would help, wouldn't it? If Zach played a good game, performed well, that would only make us feel better. That's the only thing that it really would do. But yes, apparently the Mims thing is not a big deal. That's the report that I read, is that it's not serious. But yeah, Mims, I don't know. I don't know if it was a practice field issue or not. It's hard to know. We might hear from the players and they might talk about it, because we know that after the Jets 49ers game last season, the 49er players were talking about the Jets' crummy field. Oh man, how long till we get these MRI results? I don't know. I would imagine no later than by tomorrow. Like, the Jets probably will hear about it very soon, but they probably won't release that information for mass consumption. Probably either by sometime tonight or tomorrow. That's just my guess. Don't hold me to that one, but I don't know. Don't say that, Eagle Fang. We don't know, man. Jets sound like they'll be picking in the top 5 again, and the rate this is going to. I'm scared for this game coming up in the last preseason game. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe they'll consider holding out some players now to prevent some more injuries. I will remind you again, this season is not over. Got a good comment from a good fan here, Stosh64. From a Bills fan, it sucks to hear this during camp. Prayers out to him. Stosh, you are welcome anytime on my channel, dude. I appreciate the perspective, and I also appreciate you not being a douche. You're very cool to come in and just say, prayers out, and again, not rubbing in salt into our freshly opened wounds. So thank you again, Stosh, for stopping by. RC Codes says, going off the more MRI, we'll never know the results. Some rando will leak them in a week. Oh, I don't think it'll be that long unless it's not serious. If it's a serious injury, I think we're going to know pretty soon. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but if it's not serious, maybe it is treated kind of like the Moore one. Maybe we won't hear anything. Matt Iavino. It doesn't matter. He has a torn Achilles. You don't hear a pop in your Achilles without it being torn. Matt, I'm with you. I'm like 95% certain that's the injury we're dealing with here. I'm with you. I'm not even really being optimistic because I think he won't be hurt. I'm more or less saying I'm not going to assume injury because I just don't know yet. But you're right. It seems very, very likely this is a torn Achilles, a ruptured Achilles. Not good. Thank you, Stash, again. No worries, man. Best of luck to you guys as well. Justin Jets, what's up, man? He says, is it confirmed to be torn? It might just be precaution. Justin Jets, not confirmed, and I have not stated that it is confirmed. Right now, we're only speculating if it is torn. And again, the pop and the fact that they are MRI scanning his Achilles, it seems very, very likely at this point that there is some sort of serious injury to the Achilles. No, nothing certain yet. That's why I'm only 95% sure. It could be just precaution. But again, it's kind of like what Matt said. What kind of injury are you hearing a pop noise in your Achilles without it being something quite serious? And again, the trainers were all on the ground around Carl Lawson. The players were all down. Carl Lawson said he heard or felt a pop noise in his Achilles. So it ain't looking good. That's all I'll say there for that one. So anyways, looking forward, I would like to hear from you guys in the chat. This is kind of how I operate on the channel. I would like to hear from you guys. What are you expecting, or excuse me, who are you expecting to not necessarily fill the shoes, because I don't think that you can sit here and say you can replace Carl Lawson, because I don't know if we have anybody of that caliber. Certainly not a proven player. But who are you counting on to maybe take the next step, or to help fill in? It almost feels like we're going to be doing a committee at defensive end, and we were going to be rotating our defensive ends anyway, but now even more so. I feel like now we're going to see some of those players that may have been completely buried on the depth chart actually getting some playing time on the field. Justin Jets, I had to put this in the chat because I was just talking about this about 5 minutes ago. I literally referenced the 99 Week 1 season where Vinny Testaverde ruptured his Achilles. It definitely forces your mind to remember that and to think of that. There's no doubt about it. Ronald ATN, lifelong Jets fan, we can't catch a break. Prayers out to Carl Lawson. I'm with you, Ronald, and I agree. It definitely feels like we can't catch a break. I appreciate your comment. And again, any Jets fan, you're more than welcome to feel disappointed for the team and for the, losing a great player, but your heart also has to go out, because at the end of the day, Carl Lawson is a human being, and, this impacts him and his family. This is like a big deal to these guys. And so for him to be hurt is not good. Zuniga looks like his job is safe. Yeah, that's the guy I want to see now on Saturday. And I know he played a little bit on this past Saturday against the Giants, but now I want to see him play a little bit more. I'd like to see what he's all about. He's supposed to be, a pretty good edge presence, or at least that's why Joe Douglas selected him in the 3rd round. So I'd like to see him. I'd like to see what he can do. Johnny Jets. Johnny, I believe you're on Twitter. And guys, if you're not following me on social media, please consider doing so. I'm on Twitter the most. NYJ Today, Twitter. Would love to hear from you guys during the week. I'm pretty active on there, and I do post updates to the channel on Twitter. So again, if you're not following me, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. Johnny Jet says, wrap Wilson up in bubble wrap. We lose him, then I don't know what else at that point. That's the only thing that could really ruin the season. Again, Carl Lawson getting hurt or potentially being hurt certainly puts a damper on the party. But if Wilson were to get hurt significantly, that would be crushing, obviously. And again, do me a favor, guys. Go ahead and jet up the like button. We're only at 20 likes right now. We've got almost 40 heads in here. So go ahead and hit that like button for me. I would greatly appreciate that. Christy Marie again. Thank you again for the comment. She says, it's probably too early to wonder, but are there any possible defensive end cuts by other teams that we could target? Is Alden Smith able to play football? Christy, great thought. So we streamed last night for our Wednesday podcast, and we talked about how there's going to be cuts and there's going to be potential waiver wire pickups, once preseason's wrapping up. And I had said that, kicker has to be one of the things that we have to address. I want Jose Borregales. I want them to get a kicker on this team. But now it looks like this might be something that we need to keep our eyes on. As far as potential cuts go, I don't have any off the top of my head. Alden Smith, I believe, is a free agent. I'm pretty sure he just got cut about a week or so ago. So could they take a shot in the dark with that kid? I guess so. I don't know if Joe Douglas is going to want to bring in somebody like that, who's been known to have some issues. Yeah, Melvin, I'm with you, man. This just hurts. It hurts. Feels like you were punched in the gut. Justin Jets, is there any update on Rankins? I heard he was hurt as well. Not that I've been able to check. I've been online now for about 30 minutes live, so I have not checked. I don't know. I know the Mims injury wasn't suspected to be anything serious, but it could be that, maybe Rankins is also potentially a little bit serious. There was no reporting, though, of needing an MRI or anything like that. So, and maybe that's because of the Lawson injury. Maybe it's kind of distracted the media attention. But we'll see. I have no updates regarding Rankins right now. Grant Rude, Lawson is a big loss. Don't get me wrong, but the line still has Jonathan Franklin Myers, Quinnen Williams, Sheldon Rankins, Bryce Huff, Jabari Zuniga, Vinny Curry, Foley Fatakasi, Nate Shepard. Jets fans should not be in full-blown panic mode here. And I agree. Again, we're allowed to be disappointed. We're allowed to feel that kick in the nuts because that is ultimately what this is. But season ain't over yet, and there's still a lot to look forward to. I'm not panicked, but I am disappointed, and I am very upset by this because I was so excited to get to watch this guy. Let's see. Yep, Melvin, I heard the same thing, that Mims is okay. Christy Marie, I think it's worth mentioning it. I know there's some people maybe giving you a little bit of flack about the Aldon Smith thing. I believe he was on the Cowboys last year. I could be wrong on that one. I thought that he had been on the Cowboys and he had done okay. So it's not ridiculous to throw his name into the discussion. And I'm not opposed to bringing somebody in that Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh feel really good about. I just don't know if they will feel comfortable doing that. That's kind of my early prediction on that potential move, is they might not feel like that's the best interest of the team because they have so many young kids on the team. Just my guess. I could be way wrong, though. Johnny Jets, I despise joint practices. Rodgers has good points about why it should not be a thing. I hadn't heard that. Did Rodgers actually come out and say that he didn't think that it was like a good idea to be doing joint practices? If that's the case, that sucks to hear. I trust Rodgers, and I'm sure he's seen over his time that these can lead to injuries. Yeah, Stash, that's kind of the hope amongst Jets fans, is that the front seven, even if we lost a body or two, still very strong and still very deep. Melvin, dude, I'm in panic mode. I can't lie. Just hoping it's nothing major, just our luck. Yeah. Yeah, my fandom is in panic mode, but not really when I analyze it as when I take my fandom out. Overall, there's really still so much to be looking forward to, and there's still so much to be excited about. But I'm with you, man. I was so excited to watch Quinnen Williams and Carl Lawson just absolutely feeding off of each other and wreaking havoc. Yeah, it sucks. Rodney, you're not the first person that said that. The curse lives on, my man. He sold his soul to the devil for Super Bowl III, and we are still being punished for it. So, Eagle Fang, you're reporting something about Mekhi. Let me check that out. Seeing concern about the play of left tackle Mekhi Becton. When I went through camp, he was well over the weight of 363 and getting beaten at times versus fast first step to the edge. And he said that was being reported by Charles Robinson. Yeah, man. I don't want to take any guesses, but if that's true, and if it's truly a struggle right now for Becton, that might actually be worse news than the Carl Lawson news, because it impacts our rookie second overall pick, which we can't screw up again. That's a whole other conversation. But if Becton isn't right, and if he's not himself, and he's not at least playing at the level that he was last year, that spells trouble. Justin Jets, I'm just devastated. Carl Lawson is an absolute monster. He was poised for a major breakout and to become our star edge. And I would note our first star edge since the Predator left, John Abraham, when we traded him for Nick Mangold Not a bad trade. We definitely did okay in that trade. We got a great player for our offensive line. We gave away a great defensive player. But ultimately, yeah, this is giving me, the reminder again, where's this edge? Where is the Jets' edge pass rusher? We got now 50 people in here, guys. Do me a big time favor. If you're, if you're watching this right now and you're enjoying it, go ahead and hit that like button, jet it up for me. And again, if you're new and you're watching the live stream and this is your first time interacting with the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're doing a giveaway September 1st. I'm going to be giving away a signed Wayne Corbett mini helmet. And all you have to do is be subscribed to give yourself a shot. Plus, we do a lot of good content on the channel, so you're getting a chance to win the prize. You're supporting a Jets fan, and you are giving yourself some pretty good content as well. All right, commercial break over. Grant Rude, yeah, Rodgers trashed what they did with Houston. He was less negative about the Jets visiting because of the cooperation through coaching connections. Oh. Gumball, this is a good point. DeBrickashaw, Ferguson, when he came into the league, he had some adjusting to do. He had some weight he needed to put on. It's kind of the opposite for Becton. He needed to lose a little bit of weight, but you're right. Took a few years for him to become a good left tackle. DeBrickashaw was not an all-pro his rookie year, and I'm not even all-pro. He wasn't even a great left tackle his first year. He needed time. So that's a good reminder. Wicked, good to see you in the chat. Pretty rough news all around. Lawson likely Achilles injury. Becton continuing to look bad. Not only looking bad, having his coaches admit he's looking bad and that he's playing poorly. Not good at all. It's definitely not good news. Let's see. Melvin, appreciate that, dude. New sub. Appreciate it, man. And listen, there's a lot of content on the channel. There's over 100 videos. And I post weekly, multiple posts per week, multiple streams per week. So all the Jets content, it's right here, man. And I do appreciate the support. It means quite a bit. Vern, if Becton is still getting schooled in practice with no Lawson, we are effed.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah, man. If he is going to continue to struggle in practice after this, going to be a struggle this season. Joe Musa, same here, new sub. Appreciate you, my man. I can't say enough to thank you. Again, everybody that supports the channel, it means a ton, and it does. I know it's a simple thing for you, but it means a great deal to people that do create the content. So I do appreciate the support. Great comment. Very funny. You get a coin. He says, Oh, you did? Can you go tell mommy? Yeah. Okay, go tell mommy. Close the door, too. Sorry about that. Sean with a very funny comment. I wouldn't say I'm enjoying this, but listen, you don't have to enjoy the injury. But if you're enjoying talking Jets football with me, then you got it. Does anyone think Namath is overrated? I know he won a Super Bowl for us, but to me, at least, he is a bit overrated. It's just a different era of football. If you're just looking at stats, you're not going to be very impressed with many of the quarterbacks that played during that time. It was just a completely different era. And honestly, Joe Namath is the only quarterback, like Grant Rude just put in the chat, only quarterback in Jets history to throw for over 4,000 yards. And he did that decades ago. So wrap your mind around that. And it's just a different era of football. Ready to not even watch the games like last season. It's definitely not that bad, Vern. I know you're really pissed off and really frustrated, and you have the right to feel that way. It's totally fine. But keep your mind locked in on the other positives on the team. And again, allow yourself to be really frustrated. There's no doubt it sucks right now. So anyway, if you want to discuss anything else at this point, I'm just going to basically throw it to you guys. Throw questions in the comments. Throw takes that you have in the comments. If you want to joke around, throw a Jets joke in there. I will listen to your jokes because I could use a laugh right now for sure. The only other thing that I'm going to talk about before I go to your comments, hopefully, and your questions, is I want to see the players that we talked a little bit about it, the players needing to step up. The guy I'm going to have my eyes on in the second preseason game versus the Packers, I already know what to expect from Bryce Huff. I think he is going to be a starter on this defensive line now at the edge. It's almost a guarantee at this point. We already kind of know what we have in players like Sheldon Rankins, Quinnen Williams, Jonathan Franklin Myers. I'm not really going to have my eyes on them. But guys who are fighting for reps, like Hamilcar Rashed Jr., Jabari Zuniga, I want to see if they can elevate and take that next step in earning reps on this defensive line. Let's see. Vern, highly recommend more college football if you can't watch the Jets. Kept me enjoying football the last 2 years. That's actually a really good point. So basically you turn yourself into a scout for the team. And I will give all the credit to Grant Rood. He knows a whole lot about football and absolutely knew what the Jets could get in Elijah Moore. And he talked a lot about Elijah Moore, leading up to the draft. So do that. I mean, that's definitely a good use of your time. Oh, N-Bar09, you might be right. Just end the season, unfortunately. I don't know about that, though. Too soon, man. Too soon. Your kid is adorable, though, by the way. All right, we got a super chat from Steven. Steven, I appreciate that. The support means a lot, and I thank you for it. He says, keep it up, brother, doing a great job, a.k.a. Sack Exchange. Listen, I'm going to plug the man, not just because he gave me a super chat, but just because he chatted. If you're not on Twitter, or if you are on Twitter, I should say, and you're not following Sack Exchange, you need to be following Sack Exchange. This is like the ambassador of Jets fans, man. This guy does giveaways. He does auctions for Jets merch, signed Jets merch. An outstanding Jets fan and a good person to follow on Twitter. If you're not following him, go ahead and do so. Steven, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, dude. And thanks for stopping by. You're a good dude. Let's see. Not minimizing the impact of Lawson's injury, but we have plenty of D-line depth. Yep, and we've talked a little bit about that, how the season's not over and that we can now just kind of shift our attention towards some of these other players. All gas, no break. Thanks for joining the chat. I believe you're new. Welcome. He says, my heart dropped out of my chest today. Trying not to let it ruin my day, but it's hard not to. If it turns out to be serious, my focus 100% turns to the development of the offensive side of the ball. Perfectly well said. And again, if you're a big-time fan of the team and you believe they're building something in the future, you can't sit there and realistically say the season's over, because we know there's still so much more to build off of with this current team. And you're right. The offense has so much young potential. And I could list them all. I'm not going to do that. It's a waste of time. You know the names. There's plenty to be excited about. And you just have to hope that the offense can, over time during the season, take those incremental steps to prove that not only did we draft the right people, but that this 22 offseason can be kind of like the catalyst to putting us and launching us into the playoff contention that we have been starved for. Just absolutely starved for. 2010, folks, was the last playoff appearance. Oy vey. Let's see. Marky B, welcome to the channel. He says, sign Vic Beasley. Find lightning in an old bottle. So Vic Beasley, former first-round pick, I believe with the Falcons, right? He's an edge presence. If he's available, I do not hate that at all. I think that's a pretty good idea, actually, Marky B. So I appreciate the chat. And thanks for stopping by. If you're new, hope you consider subscribing. Melvin, how can I get that signed Wayne helmet? You subscribed, so you've already given yourself a shot. That you've already put yourself in the position for it, my man. Frankie from Flatbush, what's up, dude? We're hurting, man. Join the hurt party. Vern, I think this is a fair point. Our edge depth is meh. Although our defensive line depth is very good, I think overall, I think that's a fair take. The edge depth might not be as good as the overall defensive line depth. You think about interior, Quinnen Williams, Jonathan Franklin Myers can play a little bit of both edge and defensive tackle. Quinnen Williams, Jonathan Franklin Myers, Sheldon Rankins, Foley Fatukasi, Nathan Shepard. There's just a number of names. Jonathan Marshall, who we drafted this past year, who made some plays. These are all interior guys, though. When you're talking about the edge, it thins out very, very quickly. And so I kind of agree with this take that although our defensive line is deep, it could be one of those situations where edge-wise, we could be in a little bit of trouble. I don't think it's outrageous to suggest that, and I don't think that it's, reactionary to say that. A lot of people will say, oh, it's overreaction, like Jets fans overreact, blah, blah, blah. And it is true at certain points in time, but I don't think it's outrageous to suggest in terms of edge pressure, we have thinned out. There's no doubt about it. Matt Levine, biggest impact will be on cornerbacks. Will be a struggle all year if we can't get a good pass rush going. Matt, I've been saying this all off season, and there's a video on the channel. It's called Keys to Success. There's a whole series, and I talk about the pass rush being key to the team, and I also talk about our young secondary. And in that video, I talked about how the inexperience and the youth that our secondary has can be mitigated with a great pass rush. And I truly believed, assuming that Carl's hurt, and again, I don't want to talk like it's already over. I was kind of thinking that with a great pass rush, our secondary, although young and inexperienced, would have a chance to not necessarily shine, but would be able to hold up. And I'm with you on that. Agree completely. Rodney Souls, I don't wish injuries on anyone, but why couldn't this happen to a bubble player? Always a contributor. Every year it's something. Yeah, it makes your head hurt. I try not to think about it. I'll be honest with you. You're right, though. Why is it always a serious contributor? This is crazy. No pass rush. No, we have pass rushers, just not as... It's not going to be as potent. If he's out, there's no denying it. You can twist it however you want. The loss of Carl Lawson 100% impacts the effectiveness of our pass rush. There's no debating it. Nathan Collins, I'm partially agreeing with you because we do lose tremendous threat on the edge. Mr. Bonesy. Oh my God, I love your name. That is a fun name to say. Hamilcar Jr. just made the squad. You might be right. And Hamilcar, he had the sack or whatever, but it was he wasn't even blocked on that play in the preseason game. I want to see some more from him, and I want to see some of that burst he has, because he certainly looks like he can bring it on the edge. It's going to be pretty interesting to see his opportunities, if they grow and if he gets more of them. So we shall see. Yeah, Wicked, your take is not way off. He says, is it bad that I care more about the offense? No. And you're right. I would rather lose 48 to 46 or whatever number you want to come up with. I want our offense to be good. I don't even want it to be elite. I want our offense to be good. Our offense has been dreadful to watch since 2015. And then from 2015, you could pull back even a couple more years. It's been dreadful watching the Jets offense. And it's time for the offense to turn it around. over the next 2 years or so. I think we need to turn that corner. Melvin, I appreciate you. He's reminding everybody, hit that like button, please. Yeah, we got like almost 50 people in here. Hit that like button, guys. Appreciate it. Paris Milbury. Without Carl Lawson, we're still a top 10 defensive line. Whew. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Maybe. I won't rule it out. Kind of like what Gumball was saying, or maybe it was Vern. Without that significant edge presence, it might knock us down a little bit more than we expect. We can still have a lot of success stopping the running game. We can still have some success pass rushing. I believe that. And again, listen, here's the craziest thing. What if Bryce Huff turns out to be a stud? That's what you need to hang your hat on if you're a Jets fan. Bryce Huff showed the signs last year. He just showed the signs against the New York Giants. Who's to say? Maybe that's the silver lining here, is maybe Bryce Huff just becomes an absolute beast. And then in the 22 season, we got Carl Lawson, Bryce Huff, and probably more because we've got all those draft picks, all of that cap space. I'm trying to be positive. And I'm with you, Paris. I think you've got the right mindset. Thanks for the comment. Do dudes come back from torn Achilles like they do ACL, MCL injuries nowadays, or is it career threatening? So it's not career threatening unless something goes terribly wrong in the surgery. It is a longer recovery process, I believe, because it involves that ankle. And you can't really do a whole lot. If your Achilles ruptures, there's not a whole lot you can do. So yeah, it's a concern. It's a big concern. Nathaniel Collins, pray that Carl's okay. If not, we need help. Yeah, maybe. Hey, listen, maybe that's the other thing. We've talked about it on the channel, how, sometimes fans will come into the streams and they'll say, oh, why don't we trade for this player? Why don't we trade for X player? And I've been saying all along, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Joe Douglas is real. I don't think he's real eager to make trades, especially going into this season. I think he wants to hold off because it is an evaluative season. But maybe losing a player like Carl Lawson will kind of light the fire for him a little bit. And maybe it will get him, wanting to make a trade for another player. I don't think that's likely. I still will, I'll still stick with that, that thought that it's probably not likely. But don't rule it out. You never know, man. Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas both agree. The defensive line and the offensive line are ultimately what wins and decides football games, the line of scrimmage. And so, maybe. You never know. Oh, let's see. Yeah, that's a great comment, Zachary. Losing Carl Lawson is like the San Francisco 49ers losing Nick Bosa. I know you put Nike Bosa, but yeah, Nick Bosa, losing him, it's pretty comparable. No doubt about it. And again, for fans that don't realize, Carl Lawson's a top 5 pressure and hits on the quarterback edge player last year. He was top 5 in both categories. I know the sack numbers weren't there, but everything else was. And so this guy's elite. And so, yeah, it's very similar feeling to that. Nathaniel, that's a fair point. And I'm not saying Bryce Huff is enough. Definitely not. But the only thing I'm suggesting is if Bryce Huff does take those next steps and maybe becomes, one of those guys that just kind of pops and you don't expect it, that would be good. That would fill, the immediate hole that we have right now. Christy Marie, hopefully we can all be realistic and hope that Wilson takes steps forward. This coaching staff can build a solid culture that we have desperately been missing. I'll be happy with 6 to 7 wins, and I'm right there with you, Christy. 6 to 8 was what I've been saying, and I'll still stick with that number. I'm not going to change it right now. It's too soon. But you're right. Very well said. You're welcome anytime here because you've got good takes. Jim Pak. I don't want to give up. Can we please just have a year not snake bit? I'm with you. And no, I'm not ready to give up either. I don't think it's quite time yet to do that. There's just too much going on this team. Grant Rude throwing some knowledge down. He says Achilles used to be career-ending, but with how they reattach tendons now, just like ACL or MCL tears, players can come back and be the same player. Still iffy, though. Yeah, and the other thing I'll throw in there is that this one, it's one of those ones where even when they come back, they're not, I don't think that they're at full strength. Like they're going to take, a good portion of the following year to just get themselves back to where they were. So even after they've recovered from a surgery, they're not fully themselves after much more time has passed. And I can attest to that because I had a surgery about 8 months ago, and I'm technically recovered from that surgery, but I still have, some things that I have to work through, that I have to do, stretches, physical therapies, to make sure that I continue to progress in the way that I want. And that's kind of similar to this. I know it's not the exact same thing. Vern. Congrats to all who bet the unders on the Jets win total. You have won. You're too negative for this. You're too negative. I can't have it. Non-football. Oh, sorry. You're throwing that one in the chat. I feel bad for Carl, but also for Q, who was supposed to be aided by a threat from the edge. Yeah, man. That's the thing that's killing me right now. Is this could have been the 1-2 combination that Jets fans, when was the last time we had a potential Pro Bowler pass rusher at defensive tackle along with a potential Pro Bowler at the edge? I don't know. When was the last time? It wasn't during the Rex Ryan era. Certainly wasn't during the Gase era. I don't know if we had a dominant pass rusher in the interior during the Mangini, Parcells era. I can't think of a time. So I'm with you. This was the thing that got me the most excited about the team, was that offensive lines were going to have their hands absolutely full with trying to block this defensive line. And it totally sucks that we're not going to get to watch it. 61 of you are in here. Go ahead and hit that like button. We got 41 people in here. I'm going to probably wrap this up pretty soon here, but I do want more takes, more questions in the chat. And again, I'll encourage you, if you're new, to subscribe. And if you look for streams and if you look for content for the Jets, there's a boatload on the channel. Wednesday podcast every single week. And then we also have our Sunday night stream for post-game show stuff. Oh, man. It hurts no matter how you slice it, Mr. Bonesy says. Gotta hope that now that Quinnen is back, the drop-off won't be as bad. They were struggling to figure out who to cut as it was or as it is. So I bet we don't get a trade. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you completely. I don't see a trade as likely. My only thought is that maybe with this injury, maybe it will encourage Joe Douglas to potentially make a move, but I don't think so. Gray Thinker 1111. I'm on board as saying that John Abraham was the best edge pass rusher that the New York Jets have had in the past 25 years. Well, not 25, sorry. He was drafted in 2000. So the past 21 years, he's the greatest edge rusher that we've had since that 2000 draft. The Predator was no joke. And I remember his rookie season, people could not block him even as a rookie. And he was not a starter on that defense. He was tremendous. And as good as Sean Ellis was, it was a completely different type of defensive end. Sean Ellis was that hybrid who could run stuff, who could seal the edge, who could pressure the quarterback some. John Abraham was all edge, speed edge rusher, and that's what this defense has just not had ever since. So you're absolutely right. All right, guys, I don't see too many comments in the stream, so I'll go ahead and I'll thank you for hanging out with me. This was fun, minus the topic of discussion. Pray, and I hope this is not a serious injury for Carl Lawson. If you're new to the channel, again, just want to thank you for tuning in. Thanks for hitting the like button, guys. Thanks for subscribing. We got a bunch of new subscribers today. So I will see you guys on Saturday. I will be live streaming for the Green Bay Packers Jets game. So if you want to tune in for that, check the channel out. There is already a live stream scheduled for Saturday. Hope to see you guys then. Go Jets. I'll see you guys next time. Word from my daughter.